On August 10, 2025, the world of music dimmed as it lost a soulful architect of rock and blues, a man whose voice, keys, and songwriting left an indelible mark on the soundscape of the 20th century. Bobby Whitlock, the legendary keyboardist, singer, and songwriter best known for his pivotal role in Derek and the Dominos, passed away at the age of 77 in his Austin, Texas home, surrounded by the love of his family. His death, following a brief illness, is shared by his manager Carol Kay in a statement to ABC Audio, closed a chapter on a life that burned bright with passion, resilience, and raw musical talent. Born in Memphis, Tennessee, Bobby's journey was one of grit, heart, and soul. From a preacher-esque kid soaking up gospel and R&B to co-crafting timeless songs like Bell-Bottom Blues and Tell the Truth with Eric Clapton, a devoted husband to Coco Carmel, a father, and a mentor to countless musicians, Bobby's life was a symphony of love and creativity. Robert Stanley Whitlock entered the world on March 18, 1948, in Memphis, Tennessee, a city pulsing with the raw energy of rhythm and blues. The son of a strict Baptist preacher, Bobby grew up in a family so poor, he later described them as poorer than a church mouse. Raised alongside his sister Debbie Wade, he was steeped in the spirituals of the church, singing gospel hymns that would shape his soulful voice. His childhood was uneasy. Picking cotton in the sweltering fields of Tennessee instilled a work ethic that carried him through life. Memphis was a musical crucible, and young Bobby found himself drawn to its heartbeat. As a teenager, he hung around Stax Records, watching legends like Booker T. Jones play the Hammond organ, learning by osmosis as he stood in the studio shadows. His first brush with recording came at 16, clapping hands on Sam and Dave's 1967 hit, I Thank You. A small but pivotal moment that marked him as the first white artist signed to Stax's hip label. By his late teens, he was playing organ with local soul outfit, The Shortcuts, and later formed The Counts, gigging in smoky Memphis clubs. In his 2010 autobiography, Bobby Whitlock, a rock and roll autobiography, written with Mark Roberty, Bobby reflected, Memphis was music everywhere you turned. Albert King, Sam and Dave. That was real R&B, loose and soulful. Those early years forged a musician whose sound was as authentic as the city that raised him. Bobby's big break came in 1968 when he met Delaney and Bonnie Bramlett, a dynamic husband and wife duo building a soul review band in Los Angeles. Performing with the Counts at a Memphis club, Bobby caught their attention with his fiery organ playing and raw vocals. At 20, he left Tennessee for LA, becoming the first member in Delaney and Bonnie and Friends, a band that would include future legends like bassist Carl Radle, drummer Jim Gordon, and horn players Bobby Keys and Jim Price. His keyboards and vocals powered their 1969 albums Home and Accept No Substitute, blending soul, rock, and gospel into a sound that electrified audiences. The band's 1969 U.S. tour, opening for Eric Clapton's short-lived supergroup Blind Faith, brought Bobby face-to-face with Clapton, who was struck by his energy. Clapton later wrote in his memoir, Bobby was without doubt the most energetic sideman I'd ever seen. Joining the Friends, Clapton played as an equal, and their chemistry deepened during a 1969 European tour, where George Harrison also guested, drawn by the band's raw power. In London, Bobby played on Doris Troy's 1970 Apple Records album co-produced by Harrison and performed at John Lennon's Peace for Christmas concert at the Lyceum Ballroom. By 1970, tensions with the Bramletts over money and egos pushed Bobby to leave, and on the advice of Stax mentor Steve Cropper, he headed to England to stay with Clapton at his Surrey home, Hurtwood Edge, where a new chapter began. In June 1970, Bobby Clapton, Carl Radle, Jim Gordon formed Derek and the Dominos while working on George Harrison's landmark triple album All Things Must Pass. Bobby's organ and piano were integral to its lush, Phil Spector-produced sound, though he was cheekily credited as part of the O'Hara Smith Singers to avoid contract disputes. The sessions were a creative high, with Bobby describing them in a 2015 Best Classic Bands interview as spectacular in every way. That summer, the Dominos recorded their soul studio album, Layla, and other assorted love songs. In Miami, with producer Tom Dowd, Bobby wrote or co-wrote 7 of its 14 tracks, including Tell the Truth, Why Does Love Gotta Be So Sad, Keep on Growing, and Bell Bottom Blues. The latter, a haunting ode to Clapton's unrequited love for Pattie Boyd Harrison's wife. Bobby's soulful vocals, often trading lines with Clapton in a Sam and Dave-inspired duet style, and his searing organ riffs gave the album its blues rock intensity. With Duane Allman's slide guitar adding fire, Layla was a critical masterpiece, though it initially flopped commercially. Failing to chart in the UK, the band's 1970 US tour, with a young Elton John as the opener, was electric. Elton later wrote in his autobiography, "I watched Bobby like a hawk, learning from his energy." But drugs, alcohol, and internal conflicts, particularly Jim Gordon's ambitions, tore the band apart. By May 1971, after failed attempts at a second album, Derek and the Dominos dissolved, leaving Bobby to navigate the aftermath. Undeterred, Bobby launched his solo career with fervor. In 1971, he recorded his debut album Bobby Whitlock at London's Olympic Studios with Andy Johns co-producing, featuring Clapton, Harrison, and the Dominos. Tracks like Where There's a Will, co-written with Bonnie Bramlett, showcased his soulful voice and introspective songwriting. His 1972 follow-up Raw Velvet included Clapton and Rick Vito, but both albums struggled commercially, overshadowed by the era's shifting tastes. In 1973, Bobby played uncredited keyboards on the Rolling Stones' Exile on Main State, adding soul to tracks like Loving Cup. He also contributed to Dr. John's The Sun, Moon, and Herbs and Stephen Still's Manassas Project, his versatility earning respect among peers. His 1975 albums, One of a Kind and Rock Your Socks Off, leaned into Southern rock, with the latter's fiery take on Why Does Love Got to Be So Sad, earning praise from critics. But by the late 1970s, frustrated by disco's rise and personal struggles, Bobby retreated to a Mississippi farm to raise his children, building a home and studio from pole barns. He stepped away from music, seeking solace in family and solitude, a period he later called a time to heal. Bobby's return to music in 1999, with It's About Time, marked a creative resurgence. Living in Austin, Texas since 2006, he found a new home in the city's vibrant music scene. His marriage to Coco Carmel in 2002, a multi-instrumentalist and producer, sparked a musical and personal partnership that defined his later years. Together, they recorded albums like Other Assorted Love Songs, Live from Whitney Chapel 2011, reimagining Domino's classics acoustically, and performed in Austin clubs, their chemistry a highlight of the local scene. Bobby was a father to 3 children, Ashley Brown, Bo Whitlock, and Tim Whitlock Kelly, from earlier relationships, and a stepfather to Coco's children. His sister Debbie Wade remained a constant presence, and his family was his anchor. In his autobiography, Bobby wrote of Coco, "She's my partner in music and life, the best thing that ever happened to me." Their Austin home was a haven of creativity, filled with instruments, vinyl records, memorabilia like signed Layla album covers, and his 2024 Beale Street Walk of Fame plaque. Bobby's warmth extended to mentoring young musicians, sharing stories of Stax and the Dominos over coffee at local haunts. His lifestyle was a mix of Southern simplicity and rock and roll spirit. His net worth, estimated at $10 million in 2025, came from royalties, session work, and touring, though he lived modestly. He and Coco owned a cozy Austin home, its walls adorned with photos from his Stax days, a Hammond organ, and awards like his Memphis Music Hall of Fame induction. Bobby loved the outdoors, fishing in Texas lakes and riding motorcycles a nod to his rebellious youth as an avid cook. He mastered Southern dishes like gumbo and cornbread, often hosting friends for jam sessions and meals. He cherished vinyls, spinning Ray Charles or Booker T in the MGs, supported music education through local benefits. Despite a 2021 diagnosis of Lewy body dementia, which brought memory and mobility challenges, Bobby remained active, posting on social media about his love for music. His final performance, a July 2025 club gig with Coco, is a soulful testament to his enduring passion, his voice still carrying the weight of Memphis. Bobby's final years were a blend of reflection and defiance. He faced cognitive and physical hurdles, but refused to let them silence his music. He continued writing, performing, and engaging with fans online, even stirring debate with the 2021 social media posts criticizing the remastering of All Things Must Pass. In early 2025, a brief illness compounded his health struggles, and on August 10th, 2025, he passed peacefully at home at 77, as confirmed by his manager. Tributes flooded in. Eric Clapton called him a brother and a genius, while Sheryl Crow, who covered his songs, wrote, "Bobby's soul was in every note." On X, fans shared Layla clips, one writing, "His keys made that album soar." His family's statement read, "Bobby passed, surrounded by love. His music echoing in our hearts, survived by Coco, his children, and sister Debbie. His legacy endures in Layla, his solo work and Austin stages." Bobby Whitlock's life was a soulful odyssey, from Memphis clubs to rock's pantheon. His $10 million net worth pales beside his impact, a Beale Street honor, songs that inspired generations, a sound that bridged blues and rock. If Bobby's story of passion, resilience, and music has touched your soul, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Let's keep his rhythm alive, a beat that echoes forever. Thank you for joining us in celebrating Bobby Whitlock's extraordinary life. Until next time, let his music rock your heart.